Hey guys, and welcome back to Let's Play The Sims um, 2. This is my Megahood. This is the 15 years in advance. So I've officially finished playing Pleasantview, I think, for my fourth rotation, and a lot has happened in this. So now I've showed you all of the stuff that's happened with the families like the Calientes, Don Lothario, the Goths, the Burbs, the Oldies, but now I want to show you the people who are from the bin, or the people who have moved into town for some reason or another. I want to kind of give you a third installment of this. You guys seem really to enjoy this, so I could keep going, keep showing you all of the stuff that's been happening. There's a lot of drama in my series, and I really love it, and to play it on stream for you guys is really fun, but also to record it and see your guys' responses to this and the way that you guys really get immersed in the stories of these people is really, really cool. So thank you so much for all the support so far. I really do appreciate it. So this here is Sid Roseland. He is from the bin, and originally I thought because he has his one dog when you move him in, Porthos, I thought that maybe he was really like a dog lover, and I wanted him to eventually take on being the like the animal shelter. That's just my thing. Like, I like to play the animal shelter. I like to have my Sims come here to adopt animals instead of, like, you know, adopting through the phone or whatever. I just thought it would be so much cooler to do it here. So I built this animal shelter, which I did do on stream as well. So if you're ever interested in checking it out, please feel free. Okay, feel free. So this is the house. I don't know what's going on, why it's so laggy, but I don't know. I just started up the game, so maybe it'll take a second. But this is the animal shelter. This is what it looks like. It's very cute. It has a little yard for the animals. It has like a little porch out front, and it has two stories to it. So this downstairs is like the animals area. So this is like where the people come. They can sit and, like, you know, whatever, to adopt animals. And then these are like these spaces for the animals. It has like a little kitchen area, which I think is kind of cute. And then this here is Sid Roseland. He is actually the person who decided he was absolutely going to run this, and he was going to do it well. And he has. He has made 18,400-ish simoleons. Of course, the city does pay him a little bit of a salary each and every round, because who doesn't get paid for running, you know, an animal shelter? That's just kind of a silly question, you know? So anyways, he does run the animal shelter, and he does a really good job, but he also kind of had a fling with none other than the lady from the bin, which she's like a household and a house all in one. Her name is Tara Cat, and I did place her down in the world. So this is what Terra Cat looks like. I know it's kind of hard to see because it is like a grayed out version of her, but she was still very young when she passed, and the reason is because she ended up having woohoo with Sid Roseland, and they ended up having triplets. Now their triplets names are Earl, Zara, and Yasmin, and those are the three kiddos that you can kind of see here, but also the ones that are just kind of flopped around up here because there's a reason they're here, and I'm going to get into that in just a second. So we were playing Tara's rotation. She actually found out that after she had woohooed with her none other than Herb Oldie, that she was expecting baby number 4 at least, if not more. So she ended up falling pregnant trying to take care of these wonderful 3 kids as toddlers. And things went really downhill for her. She could not keep her needs up. She kept passing out. She kept like almost starving to death. I was really struggling with keeping her needs up. And this was all on stream, of course. And I was very fearful. But at the same time, I actually thought that my mod that makes it where if my Sims are not well taken care of while they're pregnant, that they could like miscarry or they can die of childbirth. I thought that mod, the die of childbirth mod, wasn't working. And I didn't know that for sure. I just hadn't had anyone pass away in a very, very, very long time from that mod. So I thought maybe, you know, something had conflicted or something and it just wasn't working, but it wasn't really making me upset, and to say the least. So I just kind of let it go. Well, she was really struggling to take care of these kiddos. She was calling a nanny all the time, and she ended up giving birth to a baby named Asher. And the baby's father is not Sid Roseland this time. It was actually Herb Oldie's son. So Herb Oldie actually has a flesh and blood son, which is the very first that we've ever heard of this, because now none other does he have Mary Sue and Lee, which we've already talked about in a previous video, but now he has a baby named Asher Cat. But Herb didn't know about the pregnancy when she gave birth, and Herb is also a romance sim. So he would never take the baby. And with him and Coral just getting back together, I just feel like it would have been bad timing. It would have been bad timing, and Herb is very old in his years. So taking on a baby is not something that I think Herb would have done. So Tara gave birth to this baby, and because she passed away, the baby actually ended up going to the orphanage, and the baby lives in the orphanage with Faith Goody and all of the orphanage kids there. Which eventually, if we continue on with these and you guys continue to really like them, we'll eventually get to those. So yeah, so that is what happened with them. That is how I've incorporated these families. Now these kiddos, they are just newly moved in. I had to teleport them over because the social worker did take them because obviously Tara passed away, and they also took Asher Cat, and I had to bring those guys into a household so that they wouldn't be like with the social worker, wherever that is, like in limbo, I guess, kind of. So this is Sid. He does take care of all of the animals, and he had just adopted a bunch of new like strays that needed a home, and then he got kind of slammed with being a full-time dad as well. So now Sid is going to have to try and figure out how he's going to be able to handle being a caretaker of all of these animals at the same time as trying to take care of triplets. So his story is not yet unfolded. He's got a lot more in his back pocket, I'm sure. But he has also been around town a little bit. So he has also, had fallen for a crush with Lola Curious. He also is very infatuated with the girl next door almost, because this is Cynthia Kim, and she does live in Pleasantview with her husband and children. But Cynthia is a secondary romance, so of course she kind of branches out a little bit here and there from her husband, but not that he knows that. He also has 3 bolts with Jennifer Burb, which is very, very weird for me, because they are a big family sim. Well, at least John Burb is. He always wants to have babies. But I think both of them are secondary romance sims, honestly. And so she is always an option, but he's never crossed that line with her. They've just always just been friends, and that's just about it. Obviously, he is friends with a lot of the animals here. He also is friends with Lucy Burb, which is kind of nice. He has a couple of other people that he's attracted to a little bit. So Cheryl Lawson is one of our new sims that I haven't shown you guys yet. He also has 2 bolts with Cassandra Dreamer, which Cassandra never would go for him, but he has 2 bolts with her. He does want to be friends with her, so that's something we obviously will pursue. He knows a lot of these people from the fact that they do come here to adopt. He also knows Marissa Bendette. He has 2 bolts with her. He does not like the Vampire or Sandy Broody or Nina Caliente. That's like the first person I've ever seen to say, no, she's not attractive. He has 1 with Goneril Cap from Veronaville, and he has 2 with Kimberly Contender the Mean Witch from... what world is that? Desirata Valley? No, it's not Desirata Valley. It's Belladonna Cove, I think. 2 bolts also with Chloe Curious and also Rose Greenman. He has 1 bolt with Sophia Jacques and none with Kirsten Lost. He has 2 with Ophelia Nigmus, which is interesting. 3 with Coral Oldie. Oh my goodness. He really likes her. He also really has the hots for Stella Roth and a little bit for Samantha Optimus, which we all know the famous Optimus. Couple, Jan Tellerman and Trisha Traveler are both in this town, and he doesn't like either of them. Wanda Tinker only has 1. He thinks Patricia Wan is pretty. He's got 2 bolts of her, 1 negative with Sharon Worth. So he has a lot of ladies out there that he is obviously interested in, but he doesn't have a lot of wishes to marry anyone or any such thing. So right now he is all about his business, trying to raise up his animal shelter and so on and so forth. The child to inherit the animal shelter will actually be Earl, because Yasmin and Zara are both girls, so they won't actually inherit the animal shelter. So the next person to run the animal shelter will obviously be this little man right here. This is Earl, and his last name hasn't been changed yet, and they will become Roseland babies, of course. But this is what he looks like. He's got green eyes and brown hair. And then this is one of the other ones with red hair and green eyes, like Tara. And then this one has green eyes and brown hair. So they're all very cute kids. I mean, honestly, probably some of the cutest little toddlers I have seen in this game in a very long time. So the next household I'm going to show you is, let me see, what will be my next household? So my next household will be the Traveler household. Let me go over and show you what they're up to. All right, so here we are with the Traveler household. Now this house lot is actually a bin lot, I do believe. I think I just placed it down and remodeled it, of course. This family is also a bin family, and when you start, Trent and Trisha have a little girl named Tina, who is now a teenager for me. So it's a little bit different. I don't think as much time has passed for them, because they might have been placed in later than like the beginning round, but that's okay. So this is their home, and the basement is actually not the first floor in this house, which I thought was kind of interesting. It's the middle floor, so that's kind of cool. So this is kind of like a basement kind of thing, but it's different. So they've got their garage here. I'll just give you like a little quick layout of their house. It's like this hallway that you come in from the garage. There's like the little study and a full bath. Then there's also the living room space downstairs. Upstairs, when you come up the stairs, is this dining space. I have some other plans for right here. I want to put like a little table and some stuff there, but their dining room space is way over here. I know it seems really far, but I think it's okay. The kitchen is here, and then this is like the little nursery that they have going. Upstairs, when you come up, there is a hallway. There's a third bedroom upstairs, which is actually going to become the little guy's bedroom. This is the master bedroom and bathroom. This little bathroom here is for the kiddos to share, and then this here is Tina's room. So Tina is back here in the corner. So when you start, this family is from, I think, Bon Voyage. They're all about like traveling, and that's why their last name is Traveler. Trent is a knowledge sim, and Trisha is a popularity sim. So that is something that, you know, is to be noticed right off the bat, of course. And so he wants to actually be a criminal mastermind. So he is actually in the criminal crew. Well, he was in the criminal career. That's right. He got fired. But I am going to put him back into the career because it is what he wants to do. And anytime I have someone who is in the criminal career, whenever they go to work, I do roll a die to see if they get caught based off of their level and skills and stuff. So it all plays into it. And if they do get caught, they go to prison. So I do have like a prison system that I'm going to be implementing once I have my first sim who needs to go, obviously, to prison. Then you have his wife. His wife is the popularity sim. She actually wants to be the celebrity chef. She's only a level 2 in her career because she did get pregnant kind of quickly after they moved in. She is actually a secondary pleasure sim as well, and he is a secondary popularity sim. So that makes sense. But she is very much so like into making friends and just having friends, not really making a bigger family per se. And I don't even think she was the one that rolled to have a baby. I think it was Trent. So that was kind of interesting. But Yeah, so they are all here. Then their daughter, who, when you start, like I said, is a child, has aged up to a teen. She's very beautiful. She's got the green eyes, the blonde hair, the kind of like caramel colored skin. I really love it. I think she's a beautiful sim. She does wear glasses as well, which not a lot of my sims do. She is a fortune sim, of course, and she's a teen right now. She is 10 days before she ages up. So it's actually going to be a little while before she ages out. But she does want to go to college, and, she's doing well. She's got an A minus. Now, she, I think, is also kind of interested in Lee Oldie. As you can see, they do hang out quite often. They have a great friendship, and they have a lot of chemistry, which is going to possibly tie the Traveler family into the Pleasantview family because Pleasantview families, because everyone that I've showed you so far either was part of the initial Sims that were here in the world, or they have a very close tie, or someone was placed in and they kind of like got, locked in with them as well. So yeah, I'm thinking Tina might actually end up getting with Lee Oldie, and they might actually end up like, getting married and having their own family, which then would make her Tina Oldie, which is fine. And then that would tie in the Traveler family to my rotations and everybody else out there, because we don't have really any other ties for this family at all. So, I mean, maybe they have a couple of friendships with people in the world, but no like big ties for them. No one's like cheated or anything on anyone. He is friends with Mortimer, but that doesn't really matter per se. And then eventually, after these Sims moved in, they did end up wanting to have another baby. So they had this little guy, and his name is Trey Traveler, which I think is kind of cute. He will obviously inherit the home from his mom and dad, because he is technically the heir, because like I said, I do play with the matriarchy, so the males are the ones to inherit. Oh my gosh, that little face. He's kind of cute. This kind of reminds me of Chucky doll. I'm not gonna even talk about that, but it just does. He is gold. I think he's learned everything, but he's just about to age up to a child. So once he does, the nursery will stay here, but he's actually going to move up here and get his own bedroom on the 3rd floor, and he is going to live here. So I am really thinking that Tina is going to end up with Lee Oldie. Obviously, I don't force it, but it seems to be the only person she's actually interested in, pretty much, other than this rando teen whom, hangs out with the kids all the time. But otherwise, other than that, and I think actually he is smitten with Lucy Burb. I think they kind of have kissed or something. I don't know. I feel like there was a thing between them. She's also friends with Nina Caliente, which I think is kind of cool. But she is a fortune sim and Nina is a romance sim. I was going to say, if she was a romance sim, she could have totally like pretended to be friends with Nina, gotten like the tips and tricks that she needed to be that kind of a sim. And who knows, maybe she'll be a secondary romance. I have no idea, of course, but it would just be interesting to see. So I'm kind of interested to see how Tina is going to do at college, since she will actually be heading off to college here in the next couple of rotations. She'll be heading off to college. She'll actually be going into the college instead of going here in the world, unless she was to end up get pregnant for some reason, and then of course she would have to stay here because she would have no way of taking the baby with her to university. So yeah, that is Tina's a little tidbit of information. Her and Lee Oldie are the two that I think will be together in the end. Nothing really crazy has happened with this family other than, just making friendships. They're kind of a boring family to start, if I have to say so myself, but I think there could be a lot of potential for some good storytelling. Now, the fact that he only has one bolt with his wife is kind of concerning, and he has two with Coral. I don't know what's going on there. She only has one bolt with him as well, and yeah, so they all know a lot of the people, and they're forming bonds within the world. Not too much, like I said, is going on with them, but I still wanted to include them because they are a Pleasantview family for you guys, and I wanted you guys to see all of my Pleasantview families, since I'm going to go ahead and do that. So the next household that I'm going to show you is the Tellerman family, which is Jan Tellerman. She used to be an NPC, but now she is a playable. I'll be right back when I'm with her. Okay. So as you know, this here is Jan Tellerman. She is a famous NPC whom, is always pretty much around the world when, especially when you're playing Don Lothario, because that is one of the most iconic relationships that I know of with an NPC, is Don Lothario and Jan Tellerman. Now, this is not the best building I have ever built, but it was a quick little build that I did really quickly, and I think it works for right now. I am going to make better ones in the future, of course. This is when I first started building with The Sims 2, and I know that I could do so much better than this now, and I will. I wanted something cheap, and this is what I tried to go for. That is her Boldy, by the way. So yeah, this is Jan Tellerman. She obviously is one of those Sims that when Don Lothario is, doing his schwang dang dance, she ends up kind of falling for his little craziness, and she ends up getting herself into a little bit of a pickle. So she ended up woohooing at the beginning with Don Lothario. I think that it was at like a club. He took her on a date or whatever, and then because he found her attractive, and he woohooed with her like he does every other woman that he finds attractive. And the reason that he woohooed with her is because he wants to woohoo with like 20 different Sims by the time he, passes on. And she ended up falling pregnant. Now, this is the sweetest story because I don't think I could say this about him again with any of his other children, but Quincy here is Don Lothario's eldest daughter. She is actually outside. So this is Don Lothario's eldest daughter, and I think it's actually his eldest child's in the slightest, but look how freaking adorable she is. She is so beautiful. I cannot wait to see what she looks like when she ages up. And yeah, so she is very cute. And Don Lothario does have multiple other children, like I have told you, of course. And she's actually a romance sim. So I did roll to see if she was going to keep Quincy, which we didn't know was going to be Quincy at the time. But she ended up rolling a low enough number for her to want to keep the baby. So she ended up being added to the rotations, and they moved into the slum apartments because they were really broke after she woohooed with Don Lothario. Of course, he doesn't have very much money, so when she moved in with him and then I kicked her out kind of thing, she doesn't get very much money to her name, so she moved into the slum apartments where she worked really hard and got herself up to patrol officer level 3, and she moved her and her daughter out when they had saved up enough money out of the slum apartments into this little 2-bedroom apartment. It is very small and, it works for now, but eventually it's not going to be big enough. So she ended up moving in here and raising Quincy from, I think she was a toddler when they moved in here, raising her from a toddler to a child. And Quincy is very cute, but she has a fantastic relationship with her dad from what I can see. And now I don't think Don Lothario has a very good relationship with many or any other of his children, but Quincy, he has such a soft spot for her. He's always over here swinging her around, giving her hugs, talking to her. It's the sweetest little gesture I've ever seen from Don Lothario as a father. Now, of course, with the other kids, I can't say the same. I don't think he's very great with the other ones. I think he has a soft spot for Quincy only because Quincy is his first child that he ever had, and I just think that he's got a real soft spot for her. So Don Lothario coming over for Quincy's birthday ended up in Jan Tellerman actually ACR taking over and having Don Lothario and Jan Tellerman woohoo together again, and she got pregnant for a second time, which now is insane to think about, but she ended up giving birth to a baby boy named Zane Tellerman, whom she decided she did not want to keep this baby because look at how much space she has. Where the heck would we put a crib? Of course we would have tried to fit it in, but it would have been really crazy. And so I'm a little bit sad that she had to put it up for adoption, but at the same time, I totally understand because this is not really a place for 3 Sims to be living. I know that needs to be fixed. Okay, I know. So yeah, and they also did adopt a cat named Moonshine from the adoption agency when Quincy aged up to a child. So that has been another thing. Like, we have a cat in here as well. It is very hectic. Okay, it's very hectic in here. So Jan Tellerman, when I was playing her a rotation, she ended up getting an ROS, which is a random occurrence scenario, where she had to woohoo with a sim specifically a specific amount of times, and it had to be like a risky woohoo kind of thing. And so that's just kind of what happened just like before we got off. And it had to be the sim with the highest friendship with her, and that ended up being Herb Oldie. So she called over Herb Oldie, or we teleported him, whatever, and they wooed 4 times. And I do believe that Jan Tillerman is actually expecting baby number 3, and I think I rolled and she's not keeping the baby. I would have to triple and quadruple check that, but I think I rolled it and she's not. So this is Herb's second baby that will be born. Probably after he passes, honestly, because I will play the Oldie family before I play Jan Tellerman. So he will have no idea or no recollection of this baby being born in his memories, because he will have passed before the baby is even, thought of. So she's not showing, and it just happened, but I think we checked to make sure that to see if she was expecting. And I think I do believe that she was actually expecting Herb Oldie's baby, which again is going to be so sad for Coral, because Coral has no idea of all these mistresses whom have babies by him, when Coral and Herb obviously could never conceive and ended up adopting in the long run. So it's like almost like a slap to the face, like, hey Coral, you couldn't have a baby with me, but so I'm gonna go have it with some other ladies. And it kind of sucks, but in a way it keeps Herb alive. Now obviously I know you're gonna say, well, what about Coral? Nobody is keeping her alive. We just have the thoughts and the memories of Coral, and that's all we can really have, because unfortunately Coral is now too old to conceive, and back in the day there probably wasn't enough like innovative things for her to get to have a baby back in the day, or they couldn't afford it. They aren't the most wealthiest family in the world, so they adopted Mary Sue in the end. And you know what, that's a blessing in disguise, because she got 2 wonderful grandchildren, well, 3 wonderful grandchildren out of it, and also some great grandchildren. So I mean, who can honestly complain? But I do get it, like, it is very hurtful for Herb to go around and have kids with other ladies now that Coral's too old to have kids. And there is probably new options that they've never looked into now that they have a little bit more money. But that's just kind of how it goes. That's how the cookie has crumbled. And not saying that Herb even knows he has these kids, because he doesn't, but it does keep him alive in the storyline of things, because Jan is having his baby and Tara Cat already had his baby. So that is something. She does actually want to woohoo with 20 different Sims, which is the same as Don Lothario. So she's going to be right back in this boat probably a bunch more times with a bunch of different people. And unfortunately, she had 2 already with Don Lothario. So that second woohoo didn't count. So it was just like a unfortunate event almost. But Quincy is here, and she is going to be like, the heir to Jan Tellerman. Yeah, so Quincy will probably stay the heir just because Jan decided to give up the baby with Don Lothario named Zane. So he's a blondie, and he is in the orphanage with Faith Goody. If I ever get to the orphanage, I will definitely show you guys that baby. So the next household that I would like to show you is the Kim household. And they are also one of the Bin families that I moved into town right at the beginning of everything, because that's what you're meant to do. So I'm going to go ahead and jump over to their household, and I will show you what they are all up to. Alright, so welcome to the Kim household. So this household, if you play this or if you play with any of the Bin families, this is another household like the cat household where their household and their family are connected in the bin together. You're going to be like, well, that doesn't look like their house because they have like all the really crazy furniture and the really crazy windows that look like almost like spaceship windows. That's kind of what I think of them as. Yeah, I remodeled this for sure because they really needed it. And this is what I came up with. I am pretty happy with this. I think it looks really nice. I know it's hard to see because it is so dark, of course, because I unfortunately always leave my lots at midnight. So my lots always are at midnight when I started them. So that's kind of unfortunate. But when you come into the lot, it looks like this. So you've got your little walkway, and this is like one of the families I think that came with the pets because they have like these two animals when you start with them as well. So yeah, so there's like this little walkway that leads to a couple of different places. So one, it leads to the dining room kitchen area, which is very nice, and it's very modernized now. It looks so much better in my opinion. This is the nursery that they have created for their youngest, which we will get into who that is in a little bit. Then there is a little bathroom off of this for, of course, the little kiddo who lives down here, but it's also a guest bathroom that's split into two. So one has just the shower and one has like the toilet in it. They had a little gym in the back like this before, so I just kept it and I just added to it. They've got a little balcony here with their hot tub. It's pretty much in the same place that it was. I didn't really change anything about that. They have their dog house outside. This also has some French doors that leads into the living space, which I have added a fireplace too, and a little reading nook over here, which I think is very cute. And then we did keep the cat and dog photo because, of course, it's iconic for them because they are the household that came with cats and dogs, I do believe, or pets or whatever it was called in The Sims 2. So going up these stairs, you do come up to a landing, which I didn't really know what to do with the landing at the time, and I'm not quite sure I do yet, but I will figure it out, of course. So we've got some like cat stuff up here. Then they have a very sparsely decorated study because we ran out of money, and this here is their eldest and only child when you start playing this family is their son Justin, who is now a teenager as well, kind of like the traveler household. And then over here is the master bedroom with the doggo's bed, and they have each have their own bathrooms. But again, like I said, we did run out of money while decorating, so I just gave them what they really need, and we can add to it more later, of course. So this is Cynthia and Robert Kim. They are, like I said, the family in the bin, and they start with their son, Justin Kim, who is a child when you start him. They have kind of made a name for themselves in town for the fact that they're like one of those families that came in and just started really bonding with everyone. As you can see, they have quite a few friendships around and they know quite a lot of the people, and there's nobody that they're really negative with. Of course, they're better friends with some, but she knows so many people, and it's because she's a popularity sim, so she's always out there meeting new people all the time. She does want to be friends with Daniel Pleasant, which I think is kind of interesting. And also, the other thing that is to be recognized about her is she is a secondary romance sim, which kind of gets her into a little bit of a trouble here in a bit. Now, I did show you earlier that she and Sid Roseland have kind of hit it off. She is in love with her husband and she has the highest amount of attraction to him that she could possibly have. She loves her two children and her two pets dearly, but she has also found her way to fall in love with Herb Oldie. Again, strikes for the third time, and also Sid Roseland. She also is good friends with Regina Hogan, which is just an NPC that she works with, of course, and she does actually want to be a professional party guest, and she's a level 2 in that career at the moment. Her husband, on the other hand, is a fortune sim. He's actually in bed, and his secondary, of course, is popularity. So he is not a romance sim and he does not want to share his wife, of course. I think that there is a little bit of spice to this relationship because of the fact that he is definitely attracted to his wife, but he has never touched another lady the way that Cynthia has. Cynthia is kind of like a wild woman, and she kind of flaunts it when she's out there, and the romance sims and some of the men who just find her attractive have definitely taken advantage of that. Now, she's not a family sim, so I don't keep her strictly to her husband, because the only families that I think that would be for are my family sims. But she's not. So she's able to kind of make these relationships with other people. Now, obviously, Herb isn't going to tell anyone about his relationship with Cynthia, because he's about to pass away. But what about Sid Roseland, who is now trying to raise triplets? Is he going to have feelings for her to the point that he's going to want to try and get engaged or ask her to leave her husband, or so on and so forth? And I think it could be a bit of a sticky situation, because she is kind of smitten with him pretty well, but she also is infatuated with her husband. She's almost like got a multiple personality kind of going on, where, you know, she's very much so in love with her husband and nothing is wrong with that relationship, but at the same time, in the dark of the night, she's like multiple different people with multiple different people, if that makes sense. So she has kindled some relationships with Herb Oldie, like I said, and Sid Roseland, and goodness knows if she will possibly try with Daniel Pleasant. I mean, he is a romance sim nonetheless, so if she invites him out, you know, to become friends, and they go to like a bar or something, goodness knows what's going to happen there. So if you want to know, you'll have to stay tuned like for a later video if that ever comes out. So yeah, Robert is a very, very nice man who takes care of his wife. He wants to be like earn 100,000 simoleons. He is a level 5 in his career, so he is in the athletic career. He's doing very well, but he never rolls any kind of wishes for anyone else, because he's infatuated with his wife, and that's how it's probably going to be till death do them part, or until he finds out that Cynthia has cheated. Now, they do start, like I said, with a child in their home. His name is Justin, and he is actually aged up to a teenager. He's a very handsome man, as you can see. He does want to go to college, but he is also the heir to the throne here. Well, home, I guess. It's not really a throne now, is it? But he has also, you know, made some friendships, of course. He is very close to Beatrice Monty from Veronaville, and also Charla Adamus from River Blossom Hills, I believe. And also Benedict Monty is another one that he's started to become friends with. Hal Cap is another one he's become friends with. But if you notice, he doesn't really have any girls he's attracted to. Now, that's because I think he's actually attracted to boys. I really do. I think he is gay, and I love that for him. We're going to actually check, because I'm pretty sure when I looked, he was gay. Yeah, he is gay. He is gay. So Justin is actually kind of still in the closet about it. He has not come out to his parents about it. And he doesn't really talk too much with his parents per se about it, but he does have a great relationship with them, and I do think that they would be very open to Justin coming out of the closet about being gay, but he is just so scared to come out gay to his parents that he kind of just doesn't really go above and beyond when it comes to friendships or relationships. He kind of just sits back and kind of just lets people come to him. Now, Beatrice Monty is very popularity sim girl, so she really wants to be Justin's friend, and they constantly are hanging out all the time. And I don't even know if Beatrice knows it or if she has feelings for him at all, but it is a thing, and they're just kind of just starting to become friends nowadays. He does really love his animals, and he obviously wants to sneak out with some people, you know, Hal and Charla, but he has never made that extra step to become anything more than just a friend with somebody. So goodness knows who Justin will end up with, because I can't even think of another boy off the top of my head that's gay, and I hate that, but I'm hoping there's going to be more. Now, he does have a little brother that was brought into the picture after being a single child for so long. I think it was kind of difficult, but he ended up really, really enjoying having like a little brother to kind of take some of the attention off of him, especially with him trying to figure out what's going on with him, with, the whole feelings of being attracted to boys and not knowing exactly what's going on until he became a teenager. So, this gave his parents someone else to focus on, and this is his little brother. He looks like he has a very big mouth, but I assure you he's very adorable. He has brown hair or brown eyes and black hair like Cynthia, which I actually really like. Also, Robert has black hair, I guess, so that makes sense. He's actually about to become a child. So that's how long I've been playing, to the point that Xavier was born, and he also is about to be a child now. And the person who has taught him most of his traits and things as a child, as a toddler, is his dad. His dad is always here when his mom is out with some man. His dad is always here teaching him, and I don't know if that's like a comfort thing for Robert. Maybe he is starting to think something's going on or not. I don't know. I don't know what's going on, but he has great relationship with both of his parents. He's an okay friendship with his brother because, like I said, they did kind of have like a negative thing going on for a little while because of the fact that I think it was hard for Justin to realize that, he wasn't the only kid anymore, and there was going to be other people's attention on his little brother. But then once he realized that it was okay because the attention kind of was taken from him so he could relax and kind of figure out what's going on with himself, he ended up really enjoying having a little brother. So they've just started to kind of build that friendship with each other, which is kind of nice. And then they do have their two animals whom they have when you start them, which is their cat named Cheech, who is up here on this little pedestal thing, and their dog is named Gabby, which is very cute, and it's a Dalmatian, so who doesn't love a good Dalmatian? So they both are here, and they're getting kind of older. The cat has 10 days and the dog has 7. But yeah, so they kind of have like little jobs and things. This dog is in the show business career. I think they're both, actually. Yeah, they both are. And they are both a level 2, it looks like. So there we go. And this is kind of like what's been happening with them. So hopefully we can find someone for Justin to be attracted to, for 1, and for 2, to come out of the closet to his parents and tell them, hey, I'm gay. I'm not straight. I am not going to probably have a whole ton of kids like you guys do. So if you want that, maybe Xavier is going to be, your knight in shining armor in that aspect. But I do love that for Justin. I can totally see him being gay, just from his personality, just the things that I see from him. He's pretty outgoing, but he's also a little bit shy, which can be understanding. He isn't very active or lazy. He's just kind of in between. He's a little bit more sloppy than neat, which was interesting in that sense, because I thought he would be a little bit more neater than sloppy, but that's okay too. And he's very serious and, well, he's not very serious, but he's pretty serious and pretty grouchy. So it does make sense for him to have some higher standards, of course, when it comes to the ladies. Now, he does want to be a cult leader, which is kind of interesting, and he wants to be in the paranormal career. So that's kind of interesting for me as well. And we'll see how that goes for him and whomever. Maybe he'll meet someone at his job in the paranormal career, or, when he starts his job or whatever. Maybe he'll even meet somebody at the university who will be interested in him. And now, once his parents find out that he is gay, I won't allow them to take him off as heir, because he will obviously inherit the home. Xavier will not inherit the home, so Xavier is free to go and do whatever he pleases and so on and so forth. But yeah, Justin will have to have the home and to continue to take care of it. And obviously he can change it up and make it his own if he so pleases. But that is kind of the story with the Kim household. And who will Justin, be with will be very interesting to find out. So if you're interested in seeing that, definitely come back and check out the next episode, if there is another episode. So I think I have like 4 more households to show. So I'm going to try and get through them a little bit quicker. So the next one is Sandy Broody. So let's go over and check out Sandy Broody. She is connected to some of the Sims that were in the original Pleasantview. So let's go ahead and go over there. Okay, so here we are with Sandy Broody. And Sandy Broody is kind of been added to the family in the sense that she is another one of those like Jan Tellerman NPCs when you first start the game. And she ends up meeting Don Lothario, of course, through the grapevine. He ended up woohooing with Sandy Broody, and she's a romance sim as well. And they ended up conceiving Fatima. So Fatima is Sandy Broody and Don Lothario's baby, and she is actually very cute. Though it's concerning because Sandy Broody has such a big mouth, and it does look like Fatima has that big mouth, but she has the blue eyes and the blonde hair. She's very cute, and I'm very excited to see what she looks like. She is, I do believe, the second baby to be conceived by Don Lothario and another woman. So I think she is like the second closest to being aged up and whatever. Maybe not. I'm not really sure. But yeah, so Sandy Broody here, she is obviously a romance sim, like I said. So she does want to become a visionary in the artist career, which is interesting. She's in the science career, which makes absolutely no sense. And she also is a romance pleasure sim, of course. So that is interesting. And she does have like wishes to woohoo with multiple different people. Now she does live in this like condo, not condo. She lives in this apartment that I did create myself. Again, it's just like a 4-bedroom or 4 apartment lot, and it does have like this backyard. Now we can actually put stuff in this yard, so I'm really happy about that. So we'll be able to have like a little swing set and stuff for her. But this is what she did. She is obviously into pink, and as we all know, this Sandy Broody is got the biggest lips in the entire world, the biggest mouth, I guess, in the entire world. So that's why everyone like really gets into it with her. Wow, that's a really pretty picture of her. I am actually gonna snap that. Oh, I gotta get my thing on. So yeah, so Sandy Broody is very pretty, of course, and she is definitely iconic to the Sims 2 series. She's a big part in pretty much all of these series that I've ever seen of the Sims 2 because she's iconic, and I really like her. So she is a romance sim, like I said. So I did roll to see if she was going to keep Fatima, and she was pregnant with her, and she ended up rolling that she was going to keep Fatima. So they have moved in here. Now, ever since, she has also met Ashley Pitts, and she actually is friends with him, and she finds him very attractive, so I could kind of see them maybe hitting it off one day. She also has definitely woohooed with Benjamin Long, and that was interesting. They did it on the couch at the slum apartments that she used to live on, and it was just interesting. She also has a crush on Kent Cap, which is very surprising to me, but I think this all happened before I like stopped certain Sims from developing those kinds of feelings towards each other, so that some of my Sims could actually be full-on faithful, because otherwise the whole entire world would be cheating on each other, because that's just how ACR works. So she does actually want to flirt with Ashley, as you can see. So she kind of has a little thing for him, which is very cute. And she is in the scientist career, like I have said, and she's a Taurus, and so on and so forth. And then, like I said, this is her and Don Lothario's little baby, whom she is raising on her own, because obviously Don Lothario does not want to be a part of the picture, and he has never come over to meet Fatima. Never. Not one time. Now, I did tell you that he was really big part in Quincy's life, but not so much in Fatima's life. He has never met this child, and I don't know if he ever will. So this is not one of those children that he is happy that is his, but it is, and he's just got to live with the consequences. So that's pretty much that. Now, Sandy Broody is kind of newer to the town, so she doesn't have as big of a story to tell, but she does have a baby with none other than Don Lothario, of course, and I want you to be able to see these people, even knowing they might not have a big story going on. I also think she might be pregnant with Benjamin Long's baby, so if that's a thing, that'll happen in the next round, of course. But yeah, so I have a couple more households that I want to show you. Like I said, the next one is going to be Cheryl Lawson's household, and she actually lives in the same exact apartment building, just in a different apartment. All right, so here we are at the Lawson household. This is Cheryl Lawson and her child. They are actually, well, she's actually asleep in bed. So I will have to kind of show you what I can of them. So this is beautiful Cheryl Lawson. I think she is the most gorgeous lady that is an NPC, in my opinion. I think she is just absolutely stunning. She does kind of remind me a little bit of Tina Traveler, but very different, of course. And I just think she is blatantly stunning. She is another one of the victims who fell to Don Lothario, of course, which is kind of irritating in a sense because she's not a romance sim, she's actually a fortune sim, and so he kind of left her high and dry, of course, but she also is a pleasure sim as a secondary. So she did get taken on a date by Don Lothario, and of course he swooned her into believing that, you know, things are going to be great, and they were going to date, and he ended up having a one-night stand with her and never calling her back. She ended up falling pregnant, and she moved into the town, of course, from being an NPC, and because she is not a romance sim, I didn't have to roll for her. I already automatically knew she was going to keep the baby, and she ended up having a redheaded little baby named Hazel, which I absolutely love. I think it's adorable that she was able to have a redheaded child when she is obviously a brunette, and I love that. I do have some genetic mods in my game, of course, which help out with this stuff happening, but this is what she looks like. This kid is playing in the toilet, of course. That's pretty disgusting, but she's like those like grayish blue eyes with the bright red hair. I'm going to give her freckles because I like to give my redheaded sims, definitely, I like to give them a lot of freckles. I think it's just really sweet. It's like a little thing that I do for my redheaded sims, and I think it's adorable. She is recently aged up, of course. I think she's quite close to the same age as Sandy Broody's baby, which actually they live right here and we just live up here. So it's kind of cool. We'll kind of be able to see them, like, if they stay in this apartment, of course, kind of age up together, which will be kind of cool. Now, she doesn't know her dad either because, again, Don Lothario is not interested in getting to know Hazel in the slightest right now. And him and Cheryl have never really spoken again since the night that they had their one night stand. She's not even in love with him. She only had a crush on him, and then it just kind of dwindled from there, and they're down to an 87 because they have never spoken again. She is recently very smitten with the man who's moved in across the way, which is Ashley Pitts. He is one of the university sims, and he has officially graduated and moved into Pleasantview, and he lives here. Now, he did introduce himself, and she kind of got a little bit of a crush on him, so we'll have to see if anything happens with her and Ashley, of course. I don't know if Ashley is honestly a good fit for her. I kind of feel like Ashley is a romance sim, thinking about it, but I'm not quite sure. So if she's looking for someone to settle down with, of course, it would not be a romance sim. That is for surezies. But she does really absolutely adore Hazel. She is her pride and joy. She takes care of her very well. She's a wonderful mother. And I really hope one day Don Lothario will realize that he's missing out on such wonderful children with all of these beautiful ladies whom he has obviously impregnated. And I'm honestly surprised that he only has 4 kids, 2 being with Jan Tellerman and 2 being with, or 1 being with Sandy Broody and 1 being with Cheryl Lawson. He has officially woohooed with 12 sims out of the 20, so he is more than halfway there. And he doesn't have as many kids as I expected him to have, but that's probably okay because we don't need all of the babies. She also does have a really good relationship with the waiter at all of the restaurants, which is Aiden Miller. And that's kind of cool. She also thinks that Louis Asper and maybe even Sid Roseland could be a potential for her in the future, but that's also potential. Isaac Bell and John Burb, of course, and a little bit with Laszlo, but not too much. and a little bit with Chico Ramirez. So knowing that she is a fortune sim, she does want to become a chief of staff, and she is in the medicine career already. She is actually level 6, so she's doing pretty well for herself, and they do have quite a bit of money already saved. Hopefully one day they can obviously buy a house with a little backyard for Hazel to play in, and hopefully Cheryl will find somebody wonderful who will settle down with her and really make her an honest woman and not play with her emotions so much. So I think that she's a wonderful person. Now, the other thing that I do have to mention is she is actually have commitment issues, but she's also irresistible. She's also unlucky, and she's also daredevil and neurotic. So the commitment issues might make a play in her never settling down, but that's okay because we do have Hazel who will take over for her if she needs to be. Now, this is, I think, the last Lothario baby we're going to see, so no more of Don's babies can we see intertwined. That doesn't mean that Don won't have any more kids, because of course he has a few more days of, and he will of course use those days to try and get to 20 woohoos with 20 different women. So I don't know if he'll make it or not, but Hazel is one of the last that we'll probably see of his kiddos, other than Jan Tellerman's second baby with him, which is Zane Tellerman, who is, like I said, in the orphanage. So the next household that I want to show you is actually the last household for now for Pleasantview. I do have a couple of other Pleasantview people here that I could show you, but this is the last one before I actually, in my rotation, switch to a different neighborhood, and that is just the Stacks households. Oh, and there's also Ashley Pitts. So Ashley is this guy here that I showed you. He actually lives next door. Where is he? Right here. He actually is from university and he lives next door. This video is actually getting pretty long, and the last two households that I wanted to show you guys today are actually from the university. So I'm actually going to go ahead and hold off on the last two families, and we will talk about these guys in another video if you guys are still interested in this. Definitely give it a thumbs up if you guys are really enjoying it, seeing all of the things unfurl with the Sims who are in the closet, or families who are expanding, or cheaters in the making, pretty much. And yeah, so let me know. Like I said, I was going to go ahead and record another household or two, but this is almost an hour long and I don't want it to be too much longer. So yeah, so if you guys are enjoying this series, like I said, I will continue doing more as long as you guys show interest, which you guys have been showing a ton of interest in these series. If you also are liking this, definitely give it a thumbs up because it really helps me to know, and leave a comment to let me know what you guys are thinking so far about all of the drama and all of the things that I have told you about that has happened in my Megahood. And don't forget to follow me over on Twitch, where I do live stream this live for everyone to come and see on a weekly basis, at least once a week. I definitely make sure to get at least one stream of this in. I do play a little bit off camera, so I always catch you guys up on that as well. And also, don't forget to follow my Discord channel, where I do post all of the photos that I take of all of my households. So if you have missed anything, or if I have missed telling you anything, of course it'll be posted there with all of the photos of proof of everything happening. You can kind of see the whole world unfurl, and it is a jumbled up mess, but it is a beautiful eye-opener when you look at that. I just love going back and looking at all my photos, seeing my Sims age up. It's beautiful. I love it. I think that's it. So I will just talk to you guys in my very next one. Thanks very much for watching.